Okay, I'd like to open the meeting. I'd like to open the meeting to public comment. Does anybody from the public wish to speak? Yes, Ken?
Last week, the mayor was on Wiry complaining about the negotiations for the renewal of the fire protection contract. And he tossed around some figures and came up with the conclusion, his words, that the park was trying to profit to the tune of X number of dollars in these new negotiations. He didn't in anything that I heard at least, state the amount of money that PARC has paid for the fire protection over the past couple of years, nor did he give any indication of how many trips the city had made out here. So there was no way for the public to determine whether maybe the profit was on the other side. I thought maybe you would like to give us those figures so that the public could be informed and maybe make up their own minds as to who's trying to do what here.
Ken, I'll answer that. And first of all, because you requested some information, we'll give you the information. The mayor makes his determinologies on the guidance he has to give the municipal body that he directs, okay? And there was a misunderstanding in the conversation that we had, okay? I'll try to show you where we're at, just so you have a quick understanding. But this is off the top of my head, okay? So our budget for last year for 97, 98 was $257,000, okay? Several months ago, when we started negotiating with the Air Force, as we pare down, is looking for ways to save money and cut back, okay? The actual from to date, when we started negotiating and what we had already paid and what we did pay for this fiscal year was really $242,000, okay? The Air Force came back and gave us a 98, 99 budget, okay, of $200,000. Sometime in here, Mr. Dugan and myself had a meeting with the mayor, okay? And we expressed to him that we were getting approximately a 20% cut in our fire protection contract. And he wanted to know exactly what the number was that the city would be getting. And I said, well, I can't really tell you that off the top of my head because I don't know how the numbers are split. And this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I'd taken over, Ken. So I told him, he said, whatever. He said, do the contract and get it back to me, okay? So I had my staff, Julie and Art, prepare the contract, okay? And what we did is we looked at the contract, 75% of the land mass approximately is in the town, and 25% is in the city, okay? During this time, if you go up here, the town received $10,000, and the city received $11,000 in the previous contract, okay?
That's a month.
A month. I'm talking about monthly fees, sorry, okay? Yeah, we were making a lot of money. During that time, the city had responded to 0 fire calls. Over the 3 years, the town had responded to 3 fire calls. Off the top of my head, 1 in the tower, 1 a gas leak, and
a bomb scare.
And a bomb scare at the North Side School, okay? The other thing you have to understand is that every time we have a flight, an airplane landing or taking off on the base, the South Plattsburgh Fire Department comes, okay? For the air show, the South Plattsburgh Fire took the fire lead. For the fish concert, South Plattsburgh Fire Department took the lead. On top of all of this, out of this $200,000, $5,000 of it is supposed to go to the town for ambulance service on the base, okay? So what happened was, we went back and we had proposed that the town based on this ratio kind of thing, that the town was going to get about $8,750 and the city was going to get $7,500. Okay? Based on the responses, based on the split, et cetera, et cetera. Because of this, the mayor felt that his understanding was he was going to get a 20% reduction from the $11,000, or this should have been $8,800. Okay? Because there was a misunderstanding, okay, do you have the letter in? Okay? And we sat down and we talked about it on Veterans Day. The base was closed, but we had a marketing committee meeting, and we went through it, and we explained everything. And the board members at that meeting said, well, you know, do we have the money in the budget to give the mayor $8,800? And we said, not really, but we could take it from another section, you know, of other benefits that we provide and try to make it balance out and or make up the difference out of our other funds, our other rental income. Rather than have a mountain and a problem, because things have been pretty peaceful lately, okay? We decided that to the difference here, okay, really wasn't worth being front page headlines, okay? And having an argument with the mayor. So we decided, and there was a letter on the mayor's desk, okay, before the night, the next day. It was supposed to be there. The decision had been made before the council meeting, okay? The letter didn't get to his office for some reason, okay, with the new contracts. But the next morning, while they were playing this on wiring, the letter was on his desk with a new contract, okay, which we're going to talk about and vote on today, okay, taking the mayor from $7,500 to $8,800, a 20% reduction from his $11,000 a month he was getting a year ago, and hopefully we keep smiles on everybody's faces.
Then do I understand that the total city contract for fire protection on the old base is basically $100,000 a year?
Basically 100, if you take this times 12,
20%.
okay, it comes out to about $105,000, okay?
And to take it a step further, again, how many calls did they make to the?
In the last 3 years, none.
None. Okay, I think I understand what the profit is.
It's not on this side. Okay?
Andy wants to.
Andy? I can't see behind Jack there. but-
This, I think the conversation's appropriate because we're talking about a service provided by the communities. But one thing I have a concern about, and I don't see anybody here from any of the fire services to comment on this. I don't think you can assess the cost of providing fire protection and ambulance protection based on the number of calls in any time period. The service is provided based on the cost of providing the service. You can't try to allocate the cost of the number of calls. You have to have it when you need it. This was a discussion that was had 3 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, when this fire protection contract first came up. So I want to be careful when we start talking about allocating between the city and the town based on the number of calls. I don't think that's an appropriate way to do it. I think more appropriate is either based on, the way most communities do it, is either based on population, assessed value, cost of service, whatever the criteria is, but not on the number of calls.
I happen to agree with what Mr. Abdel is saying, and just to let you know, when we started with the Air Force, okay, part of the reason the Air Force was using it as a justification to reduce the budget line of the fire protection was there haven't been any calls, okay? Well, you pay for protection, it's like having life insurance, you only cash in once, okay? But you still keep paying the premiums, all right? So, you know, that's why when we looked at it, we tried to base it on land mass, okay, and number of buildings, when we did our split of the $200,000, which I happen to think was fair and equitable, a process, okay? The mayor, you know, took a 20% reduction off his 11,000. It was a misunderstanding. We agreed to make up for it, but I think we have to put ourselves in the position to provide protection if and when that catastrophe happens, not on a per accident problem, because at that point, $200,000 may not even get the first truck here.
I'm not sure going into the future how it will occur in the city as property leaves the Air Force and goes into the hands of the IDA and is locally acquired. But in the town, fire protection is paid for based on property values, and that's how it will occur in the town in the future. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to fall out yet, but that's the way it will occur. That's required by law, so.
But regardless of whether you do it on the basis of calls or land mass or whatever, the fact that the new base, so-called, is 3 times the size of the old base, that it has the airstrip on, which requires special attention, I don't think there's any question that the city's been treated very fairly here, and that was my point.
Yeah, I guess, and that's why I couldn't give the mayor the answer the first time I talked to him, because I would have suspected that the total dollars would have been divided up by mass and buildings, and not by just, however, okay? And in one of my letters to him, I addressed the issue. I said, I don't know how the percentage was made up, but I don't know if I wasn't privy to conversations that took place in the past or what the agreements were. But we felt that this was fair and equitable. We apologize for the misunderstanding, and we made up the difference, and hopefully everything is okay. We need fire protection, okay?
Any other comments from the public? Okay. You have before you the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Marion moves. Second? Second. Second by Sandy. Any questions, deletions, changes? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Chairman's report. I'd like to welcome Mr. David Glenn on board. And David is very familiar to, I think, all of us, or at least should be. And welcome aboard, David.
As what, Randy?
I don't even remember at this point.
What's our new title?
Engineer or?
No, David's going to head up land usages,
Yes, I'm sorry.
and sewer and water infrastructure.
Welcome.
Which you should be, with your background, you should be very good at.
You should have been here a month ago for the fire contract.
next year.
Yes. I'll turn it over to you, Dan. Your report.
Okay. First of all, we have a couple things that we'd like to go over. We received a letter from the town of Dannemora requesting the possibility of obtaining some jungle gyms, soccer nets, balls, goals posts, basketballs, backboards, and sports equipment. Okay? I will send a letter to Shirley Durham and advise her that that at this point in time, that property is part of the Air Force, and we are not at the liberty to give it away or to transfer title of it. We had some interest on behalf of the old gym. We have 2 proposals in-house, both for soccer fields, and one has a proposal with it to put in a fitness center. Because we will be discussing lease rates and contracts, I propose that we hold that over till executive session. And we had 2 committee meetings this period, Finance Committee, as well as the Marketing Committee meeting. In fact, the Marketing Committee had 2 sessions. And I think Mr. Dugan is prepared to give a little report on the Marketing Committee.
Bill?
I'll do finance. Peter
Or
can
finance,
do
I'm sorry.
marketing.
Peter will do marketing, okay.
Yeah, because I can't do finance. So I have to do this one.
You gotta balance your budget there, bud.
Yeah, I can't do my own. Basically, we had a meeting on Wednesday. We discussed first the transfer of the Bouye parcels to try to get an equitable solution to the problem that we had discussed before, so that we can acquire Arizona Avenue the way that we need, and the Bouyes can acquire some land that they feel that's developable. We think we have that worked out. We're gonna bring that up, I guess, later on, and then make a proposal back to the Bouyes, and hopefully we'll have that issue settled and they can start doing their own development out here. Further, we talk some more about the select group's proposal. They're the people that are looking to acquire the housing on the new base. for a retirement community. They've backed off on their proposal in terms of how many homes they desire. And I've taken the Sharon Avenue property out of the proposal. And that's the parcels that we had discussed with Development Corporation for industrial park expansion. So Select Group will be back here on December 2nd to give a final proposal with numbers. Soccer field proposals were discussed, and we're forwarding that again to executive session today. And I think lastly, again, the Development Corporation, we have another meeting scheduled with them this week to hone in on even further the industrial park expansion. We still have to let them come back to us with real numbers. We've given them, Dan's provided them with all the information that they've required so that they can assess what they consider to be fair market value, and make a proposal to us. So I think we're pretty well on course with them, and hopefully we're going to get them in some sort of a development partnership with us out here. That's the goal. That's about it.
Okay, Gil, finance?
We met with Abbott, Frenier, Russell, and Coffey auditors for our part. Dan was there, and Mark, and of course our financial guru, Henry Fortin. They presented to us draft financial statements for the period ending June 30th, 1998. Those were reviewed in detail. There are adjustments that are still possible because of the complexity of funds that flow through the finance office here at PARC. It's amazing just how complicated the financial picture is based upon the different rules, regulations, income and expenditures, and all the requirements that apply to all those funds that we do derive. The audit work is scheduled to commence November 23rd, 1998 for this year. We've talked about the possibility of revising the annual meeting date and proposed change in the bylaws to meet a better up-to-date report from the auditors, so that we do get a fairly current audit report at the annual meeting in the future. And they feel confident that they will have the final audited statements for June 30th, 1998 at our next Finance Committee meeting on December 15th, 1998, and everyone's welcome to attend.
Gil, what,
Our auditors seem to be really on top of things. They seem to be very, very good.
what month would you change the meeting to?
Well, we've talked about that, and Dan's thinking in terms of when would be the best time based upon the time that they would complete the audit report. It could be October or November, is that correct, Dan?
Well, it depends. What we're doing is, we're working with the auditors at this point to see if we can, I think 3 months is more than enough time for them to complete the annual statement. They're going to review that process to see if they can, get it, have it completed by September. Then we wouldn't need to change the date by changing a few things. We're updating the computer system and our reporting style, so that when we have our September meeting, we'll be able to provide our annual statement to the public. If not, then we may have to move the annual meeting from that September date maybe to October. But
Well, since we're doing those bylaw changes, right, Randy, so it'd be good to know, so we don't have to,
There's no,
Do it again.
We'll just simply hold until
Yeah.
until they make this decision.
But it's a very complex process,
Oh,
right?
I know,
It really is.
that's
It really is.
what-
I
but
learned a
there's
great
no
deal
sense,
from
and
the
that was one
meetings.
of the major reasons for doing the bylaws, so there's no sense in going forward with that until we have a decision. Anything else, Gil?
No, thank you.
Okay. Are there any reports from any of the marketing, finance, administration, special events, special projects, buildings and grounds, attendant services? Any questions from any board members on these reports you have in your packet? Okay, any of you wish to make any further comment?
just
You accept
just a couple issues. You'll find in your packet for this time, Mark has prepared a rental income comparison for you, as well as an updated rental on each of our tenants. It's confidential information, okay, but it'll be made available to you on a monthly basis, so we can track our rents and our cash flow. The couple of other issues, the rail link project is is pretty much complete now. We're waiting for the completion of the test track itself, which will be done in the next few weeks, okay? At that point, we are working with the governor's office to try to schedule a grand opening of the rail project and a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Also, in your packet, you'll find a letter that the staff has constructed and sent to Michael Sorrell with the BCA requesting some alternative land uses. We've reviewed the master plan and the facilities map management, okay? And we've sent a letter to Michael, who is going to start a process of working with NEPA on rescheduling some of the land uses, okay? That letter is attached, okay, and we will have available for you a color map so you can see what areas we've addressed and how we're trying to change them. If you look at the current reuse plan and the land uses, there's only about 10 or 15% of the total land mass is light industrial commercial, okay? And what we've done is we've gone back through for a third alternative usage, putting more land into industrial commercial, because we feel that's what the community's need is today, which probably changed from 4 years ago when it was originally developed, okay? At the same time, by doing that with the town and the county, the town is really redoing their zoning and their reuse, okay? And they're going to be following the master plan, okay, as it is written. So this will give us alternative uses as they prepare to start zoning and planning that, which may make it a little easier for our growth and our development without doing all kinds of variations in usage as we go forward. That's it. Anything else I have, Mr. Chairman, I feel should be discussed in executive session. It has to do with tenants and leases.
Okay.
The rental income comparison was quite striking, Dan,
Yes,
that sheet of paper that you shared with us.
yes. You know, it looks good, but it's, as we proceed forward, we still, that number needs to be, that's, the 99 number needs to be at least double what it is as we start to phase out of our airport's funding.
But those were only signed MOUs, so there
Yeah, yeah.
are some potential
Oh, yes,
leaseholders out there.
These numbers, Mark is only reporting signed information, okay? We have a whole group of things that we're currently working on that are not reported in here.
Okay. Any old business? Any new business? I'd like to open the meeting back up to public comment. Does anybody wish to speak from the public? In which case, I'll look for a motion to go to executive session.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Marion, seconded by Gil. We go into executive session to discuss contracts and leases. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Take a 10-minute break, please.
Governor just said last year, for the first time in over a decade, going to be writing their hope. And today, if we keep that in mind, we will touch the real meaning of all the hard work that Mike Tobin and the neighbors. You see, that's why I know how hard the work was. I followed this process for over a year, day in and day out. But we'll hear the real meaning. So just think of that one person, or two, or that one family that you know that needs work today, and recognize that what Governor Pataki and we as a state are doing, what we're doing here in Washington and Champlain, is creating hope for them. Turning New York around so they can turn their lives